So starting with the initial that we have AI. So I hope most of you might have heard about this amazing name, that is artificial intelligence, that we consider as a future of everything these days. When we enter into engineering sector, you can't unsee this artificial intelligence thing, even if you are belonging to any of the domain, whether it is electronics, whether it is civil engineering, mechanical, CSC, or any domain you have selected for your graduation, AI has to play a role everywhere. But just a quick idea about what this AI is. I'll not be going into very in-depth details because definitely we are going to have a detailed course for that, where we'll be discussing this thing. But as a layman, when someone asks you that what is AI, you may get so many words in your mind. And most commonly, what we have seen is people get an idea of this in their mind when they think of AI. Some robot that can do everything, ranging from the mathematical calculations or handling some day-to-day tasks. Everything that we can do with the help of an intelligent machine in the form of a robot. But this is not everything about AI, because AI has a much bigger potential than just being limited to a robotics branch. Although robotics has a bright future, definitely it is one of the most amazing application of your AI, but still we have so much more to explore in this area. And starting with the core idea, what you can think about when we have this AI in hand. So in general, whatever your brain can do, whatever your brain can process, we are just trying to put that ability into some machines by using a set of algorithms, some training techniques, as well as some data sets from the real world. This is just an introductory part of your AI and how it works. Just think of how we human beings think and how we make decisions. There is always a past learning involved. We have so many thoughts, we have so many experiences from our life, day-to-day scenarios. Right from childhood, we are learning something. And if you are exposed to a new situation today, even if all of you get exposed to same situation, each one of you may have a different decision to deal with that. Why? Because it is somehow influenced by the learning that you had in your lifetime. So based on that learning only, we are going to make certain decisions to deal with our life problems. The same ability we are trying to mimic into certain machines. We just try to enhance their decision-making ability by using the potential of human brain. As a human brain has plenty of neurons inside. If you think about the biomedical side, there are plenty of neurons inside that are continuously exchanging some signals. The same thing we are trying to do with some machines now. The same ability of exchanging information, extracting relevant data, and then making decisions. It goes with all your AI. And as you can see on the screen right now, we are just trying to use it in almost every domain. You can find unlimited applications for AI. Just to name a few, we have healthcare sector, transportation, agriculture sector, you can have education industry, it is e-commerce also, we have entertainment sector, yes, of course, the robotics, then we have automotive sector, social media, data security, finance, gaming, and astronomy, etc. So what is left untouched? I think nothing. Almost every domain is somehow influenced by AI, and it is creating some new miracles in every domain these days. So whatever interest you have, even when you have just joined your engineering course, slowly you will develop interest into a specific domain that you would like to build up with the help of this AI-based knowledge. So you have unlimited hopes for that. You can just start building on some data sets. You can start learning some project making techniques, and then you can take up some real-time data sets from any of these applications out there, and then start building up some real-life projects that can be useful for the societies further. And when we talk about building some projects, as that will be a core idea of your upcoming course as well, we'll be dealing with several types of projects. Why we need to do that? So as a beginner, when you think of AI, there should be some applications of that. And we are just going to have a demonstration of that how this AI is going to be useful in some real life scenarios. And we can see that with the help of some basic ideas, starting with the first project that we can discuss in coming days is your face, eye, smile detection using OpenCV. This can be one beginner level project that we'll be discussing, where with the help of the facial features, we will be able to identify whether the person is smiling or not. Just a very basic project, but yes, good learning for a beginner who is just going to start with the new library OpenCV. And these terminologies that I'm using here, we have OpenCV, I'm talking about some features, I'm talking about some algorithms, everything we are going to discuss in detail when we enter into the AI domain. So here we have just a general idea that how this may work, just to put up that curiosity in your mind. Maybe you have your friend in front of you and you just want to scan how they might be feeling at a point. So maybe some features you need to scan from their face. And in general also, if we just meet a new person somewhere randomly, the first thing we usually scan is their face, that what is their gesture, how well they are feeling. We can just recognize from their face. Even how well they are greeting us, whether they are happy or not. Everything we can just analyze from their face. So if you are able to build a model that can analyze a face, you can definitely do plenty of things with it. So we will be starting with the first project that will be face detection with the help of OpenCV library. And inside that, we'll be doing several classifiers. And there will be a new terminology of cascading, hard cascades. This is definitely a core terminology that we'll discuss in detail. So you need not to worry that what we are talking about here, because this is definitely a great topic to be covered into the course. But what it will help you, that we need to discuss right now. It will just help you to scan through the image of the person or the object that you have presented to it, and it will help you to classify whether it is a person or not. And if it is a person, then you can further extract additional features of that person to see whether we can identify his eyes, his smile, or the face area, or even the lower body parts also. But yes, we'll be focusing on the face detection mainly and some elements out of that. So how it works, this is very interesting to know. With the help of the classifiers, you will be identifying plenty of features from the brain, from the image of a person. And later on, maybe you would like to use it with your CCTV camera. When someone is outside your door, maybe you would like to scan their face, and you would just need to know whether they are coming to your home with an angry face or maybe with a smile. So just for a judgment of your friend who is just visiting you due to some reason, this is just a simple application we can think of. But yes, more detailed application of this we can think of is like when you are training a robot, maybe you want to add some emotional intelligence into your robot. So this algorithm is definitely going to help you at the initial stage when your robot will be able to detect whether he has a person around and how that person is feeling right now, just an initial indication if he is smiling or not. So definitely your robot may act accordingly. In order to do this, we may have several training phases. We may have to build a model, and then we may make some decision. So when we talk about decision, I always told you that AI is all about decision making and how that decision making is influenced. It starts with some existing data that we enter into the model. There is going to be a huge data set containing several images, including some faces, or maybe we can also include some elements other than human faces, so that we can just check if your model is performing well to detect whether there is a face or not. So unlimited things we can do within a single project itself. But yes, the main idea will be to identify face, eyes, and smile of the person, and accordingly, we can give some decision. Then one more idea we have is facial expression and emotion detection. In the previous one, I talked about one emotion only, that is smile. And that is why I said that it is one basic application we can start with as a beginner. But once you have learned that how you detect facial features, how you detect eyes, or maybe mouth of a person, then you can expand your work further to detect every facial expression. And that will be definitely an interesting idea, because every day we are going to meet people with different types of expressions. And this will be useful in several types of detection techniques further. For instance, we consider of one telediagnosis process. When doctors are sitting at some other location and patients are sitting at some other location, like maybe a communication from rural side to urban side, when doctor is trying to diagnose if the person on the other side is mentally well or not, if he is facing some depression, some anger issues, or he is all well. So everything we can do with the help of such type of algorithms. And you can see how it works. This is again an interesting thing. You will see a messed up network over here. What it is? This is a name CNN. You might have heard from your friends, or maybe from your books, or maybe from your professors, that there is a CNN network in deep learning. So it appears like this. However, we will discuss every part of it, including how each one of these keywords are going to play a role in the entire building process, and how the input frames are being captured by the network, and how we are going to make the final decisions about whether the person is happy, neutral, sad, or maybe few other emotions we can add into the process. And this will definitely guide your further projects for building up a diagnosis system for the rural patients, one of the basic idea we can have. And also it can be like for some other applications in business sector, or maybe in some other sector, how we can link it to the business sector. That will definitely be very interesting. Many of you might have heard that these days we are able to do virtual shopping practices. If you have some dress on the showroom, you need not to go to the trial room. Rather, you can use some virtual application to test and try that, whether the color will be good on you or the shape will be good on you. So that thing is definitely good for the consumers. But how the business house is going to analyze if the customers are liking our products or not? Now, they can use this type of algorithms. So when you try your dress on yourself by using a virtual application, how your face appears, whether you feel happy, you feel sad, you feel angry, or whatever emotion you have on your face, they can just scan through it, and they can immediately come to know whether you are liking this dress or not. So if you are liking it, maybe they will present you more colors or more varieties in the same range. Or maybe if you are not liking it, they may present you some alternative ideas so that you can shop well. And this is definitely going to be very convincing for the consumers as well as for the business houses, because both will be benefited with the idea. And we will definitely learn to build this model from the scratch by taking some data sets from some publicly available domains, and we'll be processing multiple faces out of that. And we will also see some self-generated data sets, and we will process that into the trained model and see if our model is able to identify our facial expression well or not. Along with this, we have another interesting idea to discuss, that is object detection using computer vision and deep learning. When we talk about object detection, there are again plenty of applications. You can see this image. We are able to detect several items available within the room. And you can see the boxes out there are marking everything very right. You can see it is marked as a cup, as a bowl, then we have bottle, we have laptop, and so many things are there. And they are being marked very accurately. So this is just one application of object detection. Again, it is not limited to this. We can have this idea for plenty of other core applications in the domain of business, in the domain of security, in the domain of medical science. Everywhere this object detection is useful. So maybe let us consider one security application, just a random application I'm taking up. Maybe you have learned this type of detection and now you want to utilize it in some real-time application. So we can consider a security application where we are trying to monitor certain room. Maybe that is hijacked, or maybe where we have some security threat. So we are just trying to monitor that room from a distant place. We are just trying to get some videos of that room or just some images of that room secretly, just to identify the security threat over there. And with the help of the object detection, we can easily identify if there are some weapons inside, if there are some things useful for the rescue inside, or maybe there are some people, there are some other animals, or whatever we have in that particular area. We can easily identify with the help of this object detection technique. And this is definitely going to be very useful for almost every domain wherever we have some security threats, because we can easily identify whether the army should enter inside, the police should enter inside, if they have some threat with weapons or not. So that will be very much useful. And how we can do this? For this, we are again going to learn some interesting application of CNN, or maybe we can use some other networks also that are expanded with the help of CNN. We can pass on some images into the model, just try to learn out its features, different types of objects that we have within the pictures. They will be trained on your network, and then we'll be able to make the classification decisions about whatever we have within the image. And this is one interesting application in your this AI, which we call as multi-label classification. How it becomes multi-label classification? Because we have to mark multiple labels within a single image. And that is definitely an interesting task to do. And you can have a long-term research methodology developed on this idea itself. And it can be like, you can start with a single object detection, and then you can go ahead with multi-object detection, and it can be applied in any areas, in indoor as well as in outdoor areas, wherever you want to just identify things out there. Or maybe we can also have it in some farmlands. If maybe the farmers need some security for their farmlands due to some animal attacks. So we can just scan them, that if there are some animals that are entering into the farmland, and if there has to be some security operations of the conducted over there, or maybe if we have to save the crops out there with animal attacks. So this thing can be useful in those applications as well. Then we have another interesting thing that will be traffic sign image classification for self-driving car. And this is one of the most interesting things that we have these days. Self-driving cars, they are coming as a amazing automation advancement these days, and several countries are being launching these types of cars into the market, and people are getting friendly with these cars now. So how this works, as many of you might have heard, that self-driving cars have all the automation processes built into that. So there will maybe a set of sensors, there will be a set of AI-based algorithms that are going to make decisions within your traffic-rich roads. And now you can just imagine that how precise it should be. When we are talking about a self-driving car, it should be very much precise, because it will be dealing with lives of the people who are on the road, whether they are driving side by, or maybe some passerby, people who are just crossing the road. Everywhere we have to be very much secure with these training algorithms or the sensors that we have built inside these self-driving cars. So you can just see into this image that a self-driving car is able to sense everything around. we are first able to detect all the relevant objects. So one application that we are just taking from the previous one, that was object detection. We already did that. So the same concept we can apply first right here. We need to detect the object, and then maybe we have to make decision about what is the level of threat, or what should be the decision when some object is identified in front of the self-driving car. And along with this, what we can have is, we can just identify the traffic signs so that your vehicle can make relevant decisions based on that. So it just have to identify if U-turns are permitted or not, if they have to take right turn, if the left turn is permitted or not, or maybe if there is a red light, green light, because till now, all these decisions are being made by human beings since we are driving the cars. But when, just imagine when you are on the back seat and the car is going on itself. So maybe in the beginning, we all are going to be very suspicious about it, that how it is going to work and how we can just trust a machine. In the beginning, definitely everyone is going to feel suspicious about this. But yes, if we are able to design very precise algorithm with very high quality sensors, definitely the collisions will be avoided. And chances are that, some reports say that, chances are that the accidents on the road may be reduced if we are able to design precise self-driving cars. Because several times accidents happen just because of some mistakes made by the human drivers, whether it is due to fatigue that they have after driving all day, sometimes just a sudden onset of sleep they have after driving for several hours. All these reasons are some common factors for the accidental cases. But with self-driving cars, we are able to remove those scenarios. And in order to build this traffic sign detection system for self-driving cars, we will need a set of traffic signs or the road signs. We will be collecting a database for this, and then we'll be extracting relevant features out of all those signs that we have in our data set. This works in the similar manner as I told you, that we human beings are continuously being trained with the scenarios that we face in our life. So in the similar manner, we are going to train a model as well. And for that, we need a database that will be taken from some publicly available sources. And then we will be just learning about each one of these signs with the help of a feature set. The features are basically going to denote all these signs very precisely. You will be able to identify them with this set of features. And those features are generally in the form of a matrix. So this will definitely be a great learning opportunity for all the beginners, that how an image gets converted into a matrix. And then from that matrix, we are just going to identify what was contained in that particular image. And then we can make a decision. Every step of this project making process is going to be very interesting because we are going to learn it from the scratch. And with these features, then you are going to train a network. That network can make all the decisions about whether the vehicle has to stop, whether they can proceed ahead, whether they have to slow down, or if there is a threat on the road. Everything can be guided on the network. And in order to do this classification or recognition task, further we can also connect it with a live camera signal. So once you have trained your network on some database, then we can deploy it in some real-time scenarios. You can just save your model and then we can load it into a self-driving car, where it will be connected with the camera fixed on your self-driving car. There will be a front camera, there will be a back camera, so everything will be on the vehicle, and we can just sense everything out there. And with the set of input frames that your camera will be providing, it will first do the object detection. It will just identify the sign, and then that particular sign will be registered into the network, and we are going to test the features same as while building the network. When similar set of features are found, and if we are able to identify them with the training set of signs, the network will instantly tell you that what the vehicle has to do at that time. So this is definitely going to be very useful for some futuristic advancements in the automotive sector. And then we have another important aspect to talk about, which is from the medical domain. So deep learning has great advancement possibilities in medical domain, especially when we talk about some cancers, when we talk about some chronic diseases. Your deep learning based networks can provide you great outcomes on this. So here we are talking about brain MRI medical images segmentation using a network that is called as E&ICT. This is just an advanced version of CNN that you will learn during the course. And this E&ICT is going to help you make precise decisions about what type of tumor is present, or if there is no tumor. Both cases we can analyze over there, and how it is going to be useful. Because we can see that if we just go through the stats, you will find that millions of people around the world are experiencing trouble due to this tumor issues. This brain tumor is one of the most prominent disease we can find in the area these days. So if we are able to design a network that can precisely identify the tumor within the brain, so it will be an easy thing to diagnose as well as treat it in the long term. So it can be like a support system we can create for the doctors. Definitely they will be operating it, but as soon as they can identify the tumor, as soon as they can identify the presence or the size of the tumor, accordingly they can initiate the treatment process. And here is the use of your deep learning based network. So engineers can definitely support the great things that doctors are doing around. We can build a network that can identify these tumor prone regions, and you can see everything we can precisely segregate. This is the beauty of your deep learning. Every part of the tumor, you can see these are some terminologies I have used over here. These are the additional swelled areas that we have with the help of whenever there is a tumor. So there are some expanded swelled areas in the brain, so that are highlighted by this green color. Then we have the advancing tumor conditions, and we have non-advancing tumor conditions, as well as the central regions where the cells are going to die. So this precise segmentation we can do with the help of some deep learning based network. And since in the previous project, you have seen the utilization of CNN, which is a convolution neural network, and I told you that we have several ideas to discuss within that. This E&ICT will be one advancement over your CNN. And here we'll be learning about different stages of this. And definitely each one of you may have an idea in their mind that how this is turning like a U, and what is the reason to call it a E&ICT, and how a CNN can be converted into a E&ICT. So everything we are going to discuss during this project building process. Based on all these 5 projects, the key learning outcomes that I can list out here, although they are just limited, we have plenty more things to deal with. So first thing is you are going to develop deep understanding about the deep neural networks, as well as the real-time applications that you can consider for further development. You will be able to get familiar with various deep learning as well as machine learning libraries, as well as the platforms, including Pandas, NumPy, Matplotlib, we have Seaborn, OpenCV, Keras, TensorFlow, and many more. Along with this, some deep learning networks you will learn to build, like CNN, E&ICT, or Cascade classifiers, etc. And after this, we are also going to learn about how to handle images, how to extract features, how to build models, how to tune your models for better accuracy, and then how to evaluate them for achieving your final objective. And we will also be learning about some real-world projects that I have already discussed to you, and you will be able to build up the potential research aspects as well for this idea. So this is all that we could discuss about all this AI-based project building, and I hope I could deliver you some relevant information out of all these discussions that we have done.